Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to for the last two sessions of today. I'm very happy to welcome Geoffroy Van Humbeeck. Bonjour, Geoffroy.
Bonjour. Good afternoon.
Hello. So a quick word of introduction about Geoffroy. Geoffroy graduated from the ULB with a Master in Science Economics in 2006. You started a full learning path by moving away. You went to Africa, you went to Asia during 10 years. And that helps you to understand the challenges of the globalized economy. You've seen the quantity of waste, the famous D3E in French, all the electronic and electric equipment that is imported illegally in Africa from Europe, from other countries as well, but from Europe for a big chunk. You've seen also the working conditions in the mining in Katanga province in the Congo. All that led you to realize, for one specific aspect, you took the smartphone, the refurbished smartphone as a specific one in terms of opacity. You've seen that it's dominated by brokers. The organization favors really the illegal exploitation of waste. There's a low value creation in the local economies in Belgium, in France, for example. And that really changed the way you saw how to create a business. And you decided to start aSmartWorld in 2018, and with all the values that you had in yourself, you injected in your company. You've got now more than 10 employees, and you've got a brand new subsidiary in France as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
So
correct.
can you talk a bit about what aSmartWorld does and how it can help actually for CSR strategies of companies to integrate IT equipment into the CSR strategy?
Yes, thanks for the introduction. I will share my screen now. Okay, should be okay. Right.
Yeah.
So yes, as you understood already, thanks to introduction of Olivier, I've been traveling the world for 10 years after my graduation. And when I came back, I just wanted to capitalize on the experience I acquired in order to launch an activity which was positive for the environment and the society. So that's why aSmartWorld is born 3 years ago. We are really in a model where we are pushing the relocation and the control over the value chain locally. That's very important. We are supporting a socio-professional reintegration as well within our company, and we are helping people to reduce the digital divide locally as well. I will talk about that later. We are bringing added value to all our partners, and I'm not talking about money here. We are bringing added value in terms of environment and social impact for the partners. And our solution is simple for everybody, for a tangible and local impact. That's very important to note. So just to give you an overview of what we are doing. So you have, and here actually it's one solution for the IT equipment of a company. So it means that you can do a lot of positive action thanks to all the equipment you have. Here is just about smartphones and tablets. So I believe it's a good example of what can be done. So you have your company. You may have company phones, so phones owned by the company. Or you may have another kind of policy, a leasing policy, bring your own device, etc. And in any case, we can work together because we have a solution for all the situation. So we bring the phones to our workshop locally south of Brussels for the treatment, data wiping, etc. And we have two main missions. First, in terms of environment, by extending the life cycle of those devices, we are reducing the CO2 emission because the biggest negative impact of smartphones happens during the production phase for about 80% of the impact. So extending the life cycle is very important. We are, the second mission is social mission. We are reducing the digital divide locally, so in Belgium, but in France as well for companies from France, by donating devices to local associations, which are able to identify who needs those devices and who are able to explain to those people how to use those devices. It's extremely important. And finally, we quantify the environmental and social impact of a collaboration. So it's for any company, any organization. We understood that we provide an easy way to do a CSR action to any company. We produce positive environmental impact, positive social impact, and we are generating local jobs. So by trusting us, you are finally contributing to hiring indirectly local people instead of sending those devices to China or I don't know where for refurbishment. So here is the journey of every device we are collecting. I always bring the attention to the data wiping solution, which is certified and audited by our partners. And we are recirculating those devices we are donating part of them to local associations to reduce the digital divide, and the rest is resold only to end user within the European Union. It's in order to really ensure the best traceability possible, because we are the one collecting, we are the one treating the devices, and we are the one recirculating those devices. So we can ensure the best traceability, we are quantifying the environmental impact, we are quantifying the social impact, and we provide support for internal communication within any organization. So why this activity? Actually, 160,000 kilometers, it's the distance that every smartphone will travel before landing in your pocket. The production on average is the production emission is about 49 kilograms of CO2. 40,000 is 40,000 children working in the mines in Congo to extract the raw materials in order to produce a new smartphones. 2.8 million is the amount of new smartphones being sold in Belgium in 2018. And this big number, 700 million of smartphones, are unused in Europe. So we really have to bring a solution to capture those, to collect those smartphones and to recirculate maximum of those devices. But we have to bring innovation to this sector. So here, just to talk about a bit more about our CSR solution for the B2B, you have the case where companies have a smartphones fleet. So they buy the smartphones and they provide the smartphones to the employees. So what we do is we collect the devices, we test the devices. Based on the test result, we give a value to which we can buy the device from the company. Let's say number one here is 1,000 euro, for example. So the company say, for example, okay, for 1,000 euro, we can donate the funds. The difference, so 1,000 minus 0, help us to have the social impact. By 50 euro difference, so here 20 times 50 equal 1,000, we can donate one device to a local association. So if you have 100,000 euro, it won't be 0 here, it can be like 90,000, 80,000, it's always the same. So difference, 10,000, 20,000 will be used to donate smartphones to local associations. So that's how we quantify the local social impact. In terms of environmental impact, when you have a smartphones fleet, by donating or by reselling 100 smartphones to aSmartWorld, it allows to avoid 3 tons of CO2 emission, which is equal to more than 10,000 kilometers traveled by car, one round trip, Brussels, New York, or the energy for heating for 900 people in Belgium. And when you remember the numbers before, 2.8 million of new smartphones being sold every year in Belgium, the impact can be quite big. And when you are working within a big company, I don't know, 5,000 people, 10,000, much more, you can have a really big impact and very easily. There is nothing to do, just bring the box with the smartphones and we do the rest for you. But in the case where you don't have the smartphones being owned by the company, we have a solution as well, because we develop an application which is downloadable on for iOS and Android. It's for any companies of any size and any sector of activity in order to collect the device owned by your collaborators. It's engaging for the collaborators because we are buying the phones, and it's a good CSR action for the company. For example, we can imagine, it's very flexible. We can imagine whatever you want to do. But for example, for each phone we buy from one of your collaborators, the company can send 10 euros, 15 euros, 20 euros to local associations, etc., etc. So there is a lot of things to do. We can do a competition between departments within the company. We can between different companies of the same sector, of different sectors, same size, etc., to see who is doing the best action within the company. How it works? It's simple. The company communicates internally. Okay, we launch a CSR action. You just have to download an app on a phone you're not using anymore, and you would like to resell. So the collaborators is Tuesday night at home, is downloading the app, is just going through the app. It's just an easy test to do. And then we give a buyback value, and we suggest a drop-off point within the company. So let's say the next morning he or she is going to the office. It's just bringing the phone. Someone is just checking the aesthetic grade of the phone, and then a contract is being automatically generated. The collaborator sign the contract digitally, and just drop the phone, and we make the payment on the collaborator's account. So that's as simple as that. And we have a lot of demand in Belgium and in France from quite big companies to do such action, because a lot of companies are willing to do positive action with the IT equipment and so on. And doing an action with smartphones is quite interesting in terms of image communication, because everybody has a smartphone, and it's impacting the people to work for a company doing such action about such type of devices. So the advantage for the company, it's good image for the stakeholders, externally, internally, depends how the company wants to communicate about it. It can be free and positive communication in the media as well, potentially. It's an impacting CSR action. It's engaging toward the employees, because we are talking about buying the phone from the employees. We're not asking the collaborators to drop in a box at the reception of the office a phone that has been bought like at 1,000 euro 3 years ago. So the effort might be a bit too big for the collaborators. So that's not the point. We don't want the collaborators to be the one doing all the efforts on this thing. And it's a good way to position the company compared to other competitors as well, etc., etc. So here's just an example of I would say innovative CSR action that can be launched within an organization of any sector, any size, and yeah, that's the point. Here I will just show again our differentiations to illustrate the fact that it's extremely important to work with a specialist of smartphones and tablets for the smartphones and tablets, to work with a specialist of laptops for the laptops, to work with a specialist of servers for the servers. If you are trusting a company coming to collect all the devices, server, laptop, desktop, printers, etc., it won't be treated properly. Here we are better than the others for smartphones and tablets, because we are specialized in smartphones and tablets, and because we are integrating the value chain locally. So it allows us to ensure the best traceability, to have more social impact than most of the others, to hire people locally, to ensure the best quality of refurbishment, etc., etc. So that's important to work with the specialist of each type of IT equipment. So that's the point of this table. So that's already it for me, actually.
Thank you. Just that I needed to unhide from the stage. Thank you, Geoffroy, for the presentation. I see all the clapping going to you. I've seen a few questions going in the chat. Maybe you see them as well. You mentioned how you measure the social impact. There's a question about the impact of your refurbishing activity itself. How do you measure it? How much energy does it consume? How much of the smartphones that you collect are actually recycled or refurbished? How much goes to waste, and are you involved in the recycling activities? Or maybe different question, how do you monitor the recycling activities if you're not directly involved?
Yeah, actually, you have three types of smartphones. You have, I would say, the high-end devices that we might be collecting. Then the mid-range or maybe older smartphones, and then the rest, which is much way too old to be reused. So we need to. The challenge is to avoid the devices to go in a drawer. Once it enters the drawer, it's too late. So the thing is that as the sooner we collect, the higher the rate of the recirculation rate will be. So that's the key, and so that's what we are trying to tell to the companies. Okay, you change the smartphone fleet. Don't wait too much before calling us. So that's how we have the bigger impact. On average, we are a bit about from companies. We are around 35% of the smartphones being collected can be recirculated because some are locked on iCloud, Google account. Some are too old, too damaged, etc., etc. So yeah, that's one part of the question. For the rest, we are working with local companies for recycling, and at the end of the day, it's going to Umicore in Belgium. But we are trying to dismantle devices in order to repair other devices, thanks to spare parts collected from those devices which might be locked. So we avoid actually to order new spare parts from China, etc.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you mentioned the devices that are locked, of course, it's not good because you cannot completely reuse them. But at least
but we're using the spare parts
the
whenever we can do it. Yes, that's correct.
And I see that more suddenly there's tons of questions. So there's a question about soldered batteries, les batteries soudées. Significant cause for throwing away iPhones. How do you deal with batteries? Problem of batteries that are.
But we don't have any issue with batteries on iPhone at the moment. Yeah, so there is no big problem with this actually.
But that's because you have specialized guys who are able to go into every type of.
Yeah, but that's exactly that's because we are specialized in smartphones and tablets. It's not the same guys which are specialized in laptops, not the same guys specialized in other IT equipments. So that's why it's important to work with specialists in for different types.
For smartphones, it's not so much the batteries that could be the problem, but it's the micro soldering, all the very tiny chips, etc. And there again, you've got the skills in the company, which probably makes a big difference. I would say, I guess that many companies can do the batteries, but for micro soldering, it's much more complex.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, 90 to 95% is always a screen and battery. Huh? It's not like very complex things to be fixed. The difficulty is that there are a lot of different models. So we need to be able to work on, I don't know, hundreds of different models that we are receiving. And that's the thing which is complicated. We're not opening an iPhone 8 like we are opening Samsung Galaxy S10, for example. It's not the same way to work on it. Yep. Even if you are talking about a battery change, it's a different way to work on it. Yes.
Question from Trace: do you resell refurbished smartphones and tablets to companies, or to the company itself potentially, or to other companies? I guess two different business models.
Yes, we are. Yeah, the thing that we are selling to end users only. End users can be Mr. Dupont in Paris, or can be the local SME, for example, buying smartphones, tablets for the employees. So we are doing both. Correct. Yes.
Okay, but would you, if a large company would tell you, we've got a fleet of smartphones, we would like you to refurbish them for us, and we buy them back from you.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we are open to many ways to work with companies to help them finally to have a positive impact. So yes, it's possible.
Okay. Yeah. And so, in terms of if someone like I've got an iPhone or another other type of smartphone, is there like a shop where I can drop by and have a direct assessment of my phone? How does it work?
So it's always online. So we provide. I mean, yes, we don't have a shop. The idea is to be as scalable as possible in order to address larger market as possible and to have a bigger impact.
Mm-hmm.
And we have realized that even in France, actually, where we can think that the market is more mature than in Belgium, it's not really the case, because it's a market where people are a bit more aware of refurbished smartphones, etc., thanks to back market and those actors. But there are no solution, and we are willing to offer a solution which is accessible to everybody in everywhere in France and then other countries. And that's why we are working online and with an app which will be linked to local drop-off points, but which won't be a aSmartWorld drop-off point. It will be with a partnership with local partners in France, in Belgium, and so on.
And also through an application to automatically assess.
Yes, correct. So, same as in the presentation for the companies, it will be the same for. It's exactly the same presentation with some differences, but the same for individuals willing to sell the phones and to drop the phone in the nearest drop-off point from his place. Yeah.
A question from Veronique, and I must say that probably I missed that part of your presentation. She asked, do you have more info about the 700 unused phones, 700 million unused phones? Where are they in companies, individuals? Why is it that they are not used?
But they are just sleeping somewhere in the drawer. Actually, the problem with smartphones is that it's very small. So we are only realizing now that we have full of devices in drawers. Alors, most of them it's too late to reuse them. But in Europe, you have 180 millions of new smartphones being sold every year. So the challenge is to collect those devices, because if you have 180 millions of new smartphones being sold, it means that you have quite a lot of smartphones being put in a drawer. And 85% of the people are changing the phone, even if the phone is still working, just because they want the new one. They are willing to have a better camera, etc., etc. So we have like 85% of 180 millions of phones to collect, and nobody can do it at the moment because there are no solution. And that's what we are trying to bring on the market, as simple as that.
Also, of course, whenever you change smartphone, people tend to say, but I'll keep it just in case for a few months, in case the new one breaks. And then, of course, after that, you forget that you have the old one and it stays forever. And then you come to the point that it's not usable anymore. It's not possible anymore to upgrade it, etc. And then
you cannot even put the SIM card in the smartphone because it's not the same dimension. So yes, I mean, collecting smartphones is much more complicated than collecting used battery. You have emotional value with smartphones. You have perception of value as well. You buy a smartphone at 1,000 euro 2 years ago. Do you really want to put it in a box at the reception of your company? I'm not sure. So you can do an effort, but maybe it's still worth 300 euros. So you want to get something for it, etc., etc. So it's much more complicated. You have the data issues, etc., etc. So that's why the application is, according to us, a solution to overcome those barriers to collect.
And there's also, as Remy is mentioning, there's the fear that your personal data could be stolen. That's one of the points where you're very careful about personal data.
Yes, correct. That's extremely important. We have one certificate, data wiping certificate by devices. So we can provide, we are providing the companies with each certificate, obviously, and individuals can ask for it as well. That's extremely important. Yes.
Yeah, companies are usually very aware of that, and you have to prove that you are really doing it.
Correct.
Individuals are less aware, and they are afraid, but they don't know that there's actually a solution, and they can ask for that solution and that proof of erasement. Can I ask you a few words about your foundation and also what you did during the first confinement, because that's something that probably people don't know too much about with the Red Cross.
Yes, correct. So during the first confinement, in March 2020, actually, we were identified as everybody else that the retirement home were in quarantine in Belgium. So we decided to donate smartphones and tablets to retirement houses in Belgium. We distributed 300 devices with SIM cards, etc. So in order to allow those people to be reconnected to their family and their friends, and vice versa as well. And finally, we decided to do something more structural with this. So we have created a foundation, which is the Foundation for Digital Inclusion. So we are working with local associations in Belgium, and we will do it in France as well, to donate part of what we are collecting and refurbishing to those associations in order to reduce the digital divide locally, because lots of people are still suffering from this digital divide, even in France and Belgium. We saw it due to the COVID crisis, and we just wanted to do something about it, and to be, thanks to the foundation, to be to play a role by working with other associations and putting together local action to have together a bigger impact on this. We still have a lot of things to do, and we are actively working on it. We have now 1 people dedicated to the foundation within the company in order to increase the impact, because there are a lot of things to do. Yes.
Yeah, indeed. We had also a presentation by Jean Dedier also about the problem of inclusivity, accessibility. We Take Care, who helps people to
Yes.
understand how to use devices. And so it's very complementary, because there's also the problem of simply not having devices, especially, as you said, in retirement houses. They didn't have enough material and people were completely blocked. So it was really a nice initiative, and I'm happy to say that through the Institute, we've been able to help a bit by putting a few members and a few contacts together to try and bring more devices. So the Red Cross helped, but also companies like BNP and others in Belgium try to help to provide material, and it was really nice to be involved in positive like that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you. I think that we are coming to an end. Socialware might be a good partner as well. Yeah, of course, that's one that we know. The Socialware for NGOs. They offer discounted software and hardware, something that we already discussed. Thank you, Trej, for the hint. And I think that we've gone through the key questions in the chat. So we are just on time. I propose that I close this session. Thank you very much, Geoffroy. I'm sure that everyone in Belgium and in France will
Olivier.
aSmartWorld to give a second life to their equipment, but also to buy refurbished equipment now when they need a new smartphone or tablet. So thank you very much. For everyone, as for it will be the last time today that I will say that we will put you on hold for a few seconds. I'll be back very shortly with our last speaker for the day, Mrs. Jo Dufourmont. Thank you again, Geoffroy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.